everybody, and welcome to Michigan Living. I'm your host, Jeff Spencer, and here we are. We're going to be talking about rent increases. Oh my. Well, it seems like that rent increases in the U.S. have broken records for 13 consecutive months. And from what everything is being shown and what's going on, it's not going to stop. So, this is where, of course, a lot of people are having issues. People go, the housing market is so tough right now, and even with the interest rates and stuff like that, we might as well just simply rent. Sure, that's one way of looking at it, except you really need to be able to check out how much your mortgage payment would be, even with today's interest rates, compared to what you'd be paying just in rent. And expect your rent to be going up every year. So let's see what's going on in the nation. The cost of rent continues its meteoric rise in April, marking the 13th month in a row of record-setting increases for single-family units. Nationally, single-family rent jumped 14% year over year in April, according to a report released Tuesday by the real estate data firm CoreLogic. Rent in several major metropolitan areas, particularly the Sunbelt cities, rose much higher than that, with no signs of slowing down. Well, why would it be slowing down? Single-family rents continue to increase at record-level rates. Molly Boesel, principal economist at CoreLogic, said in the release, "We expect single-family rent growth to continue to increase at a rapid pace throughout 2022. No kidding. And 23, and 24, and 25. That should be a given. CoreLogic's report breaks down the rental increase in 20 large metropolitan areas. Of those cities, Miami by far tops the list. It's Florida. People want to go to Florida and live there. So, and because they're having their own issues with all those people trying to be able to move to Florida, and where are they going to live? Just be glad that you live up here in Michigan. At least, especially for that. Our prices really are not that bad. They're actually pretty decent, especially compared to the coasts and Florida and even Texas, because a lot of Californians are moving to Nevada, Texas, blah, blah, blah. So it's just skyrocketed prices. Of those cities, Miami by far the tops, posting a nearly 41% jump for the year ending in April. Houses have jumped 41%. Jesus. Here's a look at the metros where rent prices are increasing the most. Miami, 40.8. Orlando, Florida again, 25.8. I'm shocked a little bit that Orlando and stuff is actually less than Miami. Phoenix, Arizona, 17.8%. San Diego, California, I don't know why, 17.3%. And Las Vegas, Nevada, 17%. Rent growth is tamer than the national average for major rent metros and other regions. Rent in the greater New York area, for example, grew 8.4% over the same period. Honolulu saw the least growth of the major metros, listed by CoreLogic at 7.7%. A shortage of rental properties paired with strong wage gains due to a tight labor market are major contributors to the soaring cost of rent, CoreLogic says. This all fuels high inflation rates, which are at levels unseen since the early 1980s. Yeah, the 80s and stuff of that was, especially early on, late 70s to early 80s and stuff of that, it was pretty bad. But, of course, we already know that our high inflation is also a lot more than just simply those. You're talking about gas as a leading thing for the oil. which is driving up its costs for fuel like there's nobody's business. And because of fuel and stuff like that, high costs in fuel, everything else is becoming unbelievably high. It's just, what it is. According to the Labor Department, the inflation rate in April was 8.3%. That's just in April. In May, it eked even higher to 8.6%. Such high inflation rates are clobbering home buyers as well. Not only are home prices historically high, the Federal Reserve is aggressively raising interest rates in an effort to quell the inflation. Now remember is that we have had an unprecedented low interest rate. That's not our normal, and it can't stay that way, and it never could stay that way. So we are still below what the minimum has to be. So right now is a perfect time to be buying because it's only, the interest rate is going to go higher and it's going to stay there. In the long run, this strategy should bring home prices down. The only reason why, of course, it would ever be interest rate in and of itself does not bring down home prices. That's the market. Only the market can bring down home prices. The market is whatever is supply and demand is pretty much the market. All right. So whatever, and so if we have an overabundance of homes and nobody's buying them, prices go down. When we have low inventory, prices go higher. It's just the way it is. Okay. And it always does this. Okay, we have ebbs and flows, always have, or it's more like this, because it's always going higher. All right. So, according to the National Association of Realtors, the median selling price of existing homes hit an all-time high in May of $407,000, basically, marking a 14-point increase from the year prior. The topsy-turvy housing market can keep would-be buyers in rental units instead. This limiting supply and driving rent up even higher. So that's the problem. All right, is that when you have so many people that are renting, but you only have so many rental units, you only have so many apartments, etc. Right? Now, here's the real deal, all right? Normally, so that most of your home buyers are in their early 30s to going into their 50s is a huge chunk. Those are really the people who really buy homes. I mean, a large number of them, all right? But what's going on right now is unprecedented. Why? Because you're having a bunch of people who are going into 30 who are just staying home. They're not interested in going out because to them it's, they can't get a job and or they just don't want to get a home. Well, now and so they have an excuse, well, the interest rates are going up higher, blah, blah, blah. So then they're staying in their rental units. Normally those people leave those rental units in order to buy homes. Now here's one thing that is always occurring. Always. There are more and more people that are turning the age of 18 every year. Every year we have more people turning 18, 19, 20, and they want to be able to be out on their own. They don't want to be, underneath the roof of their mom and dad. Okay? They want to, they actually want to be able to live their own lives. Well, so there's a lot of them that usually always do the same thing they've always been doing for many years, and that's rent. Well, there's a problem. If the 30-year-olds aren't getting out and actually buying homes, where are there any free rentals or empty rentals for them to be able to rent? Because, one's going in and one's going out. We're not having that right anymore. And with everything else going on, it's a perfect excuse for people who own these things to be able to raise rents. At least when you have a mortgage, guess what? You know how much you're going to be paying every year, and it's not going to change. Whereas, and of course, you're also getting equity. You're doing a bunch of things. Okay, you own your home. That's beautiful. I love to be able to get my clients so into their places and stuff like that and have them be happy. That's what I like. Okay, I really enjoy it. And what also makes sense to my clients. Too many times, however, everybody is, oh, we just need to be able to go on out and buy a house. Like, well, it depends on the situation. It really does. Okay. I don't always recommend it. In fact, I've already talked to 5 different couples and stuff like that to not buy a house this year. But that's because of their particular situation. All right. It just wasn't, in the cards for them. I recommended it. I didn't tell them they can't, but because it's always up to the client and what they want to do. But then we made a plan for them to be able to do so. We talked about it and everything, and then they were all like, "Yeah, that makes more sense." It's like, good. And then there are others and so theaters. I'm more than happy to be able to go, okay, now's the time, especially if you already own a house and you want to be able to get into another place. Now's the time to do it, especially now, before the interest rates keep on going up higher. And you don't want to lose the equity that's already in your house. Sure, right now homes are the highest that they've been in a long time. But here's a little thing here, okay? With you already owning a house, you're getting all that equity that's in your house. So when you're putting that equity into another house that you're buying, it evens out. All right. So yeah, you're paying more for this house, but you're also selling your house for a lot more than it's worth too. They balance out. All right. Not a lot of people and stuff like that know this or don't want to look at it that way. Because when the market changes, all of a sudden your house, you're not going to be selling that house for anything what you're going to be able to buy it for now. Just not. Which means you lose all that equity. But then you're also going to be buying a much cheaper house because, there's no equity in that house either. Again, it's balanced. Okay? The only thing that seriously changes is your interest rate. Okay? So that's why I'm still, and I keep on trying to push people because it's like even at this interest rate, it's still cheaper than it's going to be. And we need to be able to get you into a place at these interest rates now so that you can be able to capitalize. All right? Because this is not the end of the road for these interest rate hikes. All right? These things, the interest rate has to go higher, and it's going to. By a bit. So, and it's probably going to be happening probably by the end of the year. So far, everyone's telling me, and that's what the market indicates. So we need to be able to capitalize on what you can get now. If nothing else, however, try to be able to find a realtor like me who has your best interest at heart and who actually knows what's going on, so they can be able to advise you what's best for your situation. Okay, that's all I would be asking and stuff like that. So, if you have any questions, comments, please like and share down below, and I look forward to talking to you again next time. Thank you very much.